That's great. It's earlier than we expected. Where is Mr. Trump? We love him. Donald Trump is with us. Mr. Trump, welcome. You survived the assault today.
How are you?
Donald, how do you put up with this? How do you feel having to sneak into an event in the United States of America when illegitimate non-citizens try to block you? What does that do to you?
Well, it's terrible. I mean, you have Lion Ted Cruz trying to, he's got millions of votes less than me, hundreds of delegates less, and they try and steal an election. It's a rigged system, but I have so much more that I think we get it right on the first ballot, Mike. We're going to get it right on the first. We're way over, so we're going to get it.
I understand what's going on, and he's the only one who doesn't know he lost. Apparently, he and Carly Fiorina think that they're still in the game, and we know that. I hate to go into it, but Carly is living in another universe. She was a terrible businesswoman. She was fired after laying off 30,000 workers. What are they holding her up as a great business genius for?
Well, you know, when she was a candidate, she had the one good debate, but that wasn't against me. That was on the other stage. You remember that. And she had the one good debate. She got onto the main stage, and right after that, her numbers went down, and she got off with about nothing. I think 0 to 1, or something like that. I mean, whatever, but it wasn't much. I don't know what impact you'll have. I think that the deal they made with Kasich is a horrible deal, which is already broken up. I mean, that's an insult to the people of Iowa, that deal. And it already.
Donald, I heard your America First speech. I was moved by it. So are people I know who were very, very unemotional about politics. They called me and they said that was one of the greatest speeches I ever heard. Everyone said, he was a different guy. Of course you were a different guy. You were reading a speech that was very important, that every word was going to be analyzed. One of the things you said was that you were going to make the NATO nations pay their fair share, which I totally agree with. I studied this. Some of them pay 0.1%. How do you actually think how would you get NATO nations to pay their fair share for the defense of NATO?
Ask them, Michael. You know, that's what I do. I mean, you got to get them. You got to get them in a row. You got to say, look, we're not going to protect you. We can't be taken advantage of anymore, Michael. We have, in NATO, they have 28 nations. We can't be taken advantage of with many of these nations getting protection, not even paying what they're supposed to be paying as per agreement. And all of that's going to stop. And so many other things are going to stop, that we're going to make great trade deals, and we'll make our nation rich again. You know, China and all of these countries that we deal with on trade have just ripped us to a point where we're a debtor nation. We owe $19 trillion. And then the NATO nations, many of those nations, and I mean really many, they're not paying what they're supposed to. So they think the United States is led by maybe stupid people or weak people, and they won't ask. But I'll be asking for the back pay also.
I don't blame you. You know, Mr. Trump, I wrote a little article about your speech, and I said that you have been misinterpreted as an isolationist by globalists, and I described your philosophy as America First. And I said, Mr. Trump's foreign policy is based more on making America's interest dominant, not subservient. Isn't that more or less it?
100%. I'm not an isolationist, but I don't want to do business if we're going to lose $500 billion. You know, we have a deficit with China, $505 billion, okay? $505 billion. Mm-hmm. Balance it. It's got to be balanced. I mean, we're not looking for the end of the world, but it's got to be balanced. And
Donald, I agree with you. I'm sorry, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, please.
I'm not an isolationist, Michael, at all. You know that. But I'm a person that wants fairness for our country and for our people and for our taxpayers. And we just can't continue to go on like this, and I want fairness.
I understand. And I wrote this, Donald. Instead of provoking Russia, as Obama has done, Trump wants peace, prosperity, and trade with Russia. Instead of carrying the entire defense costs of NATO, Trump wants NATO member nations to pay their fair share of defense costs. One of the biggest things to me is this issue with Russia. The most insane policy I've ever seen in my life is Obama goading Russia, calling Putin Hitler. You certainly want to reverse that. Isn't that correct?
Well, look, you know, Russia can do a lot of good for us. I mean, when I heard 6 months ago they wanted to bomb the hell out of ISIS, and maybe they had other things in mind also, because, you know, they have a different view on Syria than our so-called leaders. And, you know, frankly, they ought to start thinking, our people ought to start rethinking their whole policy. But ISIS, they want to bomb, and we have people saying we don't want them to bomb ISIS. And I'm saying, what are these people thinking about? First of all, do you know how expensive it is? I mean, so expensive that Russia sort of left a little bit earlier, I think earlier than they were going to, and I'll bet you that was a cost problem. But
Yes.
the thing, Michael, wouldn't it be great if we got along with Russia? You know, Putin said very nice things about me. It has zero influence. He actually called me a genius, but that's okay. Has zero influence on me, Michael, zero. But if we can make good deals, and you know what? If we can't, I'll know almost instantaneously, and I walk from the table. Unlike us, we never walk from the table with the Iran deal. You know, we don't walk. We never walk. We just keep agreeing whatever they want.
Donald, I said your speech is very simple. It's called America First, contrasting with Obama's mantra, which is America Last. And the fact of the matter is, Obama has abandoned our friends and bowed to our enemies, as I've said for years. You said the same thing. He supported the ouster of a friendly regime in Egypt that had a long-standing peace treaty with Israel, and then helped bring the Muslim Brotherhood to power in its place. You happen to be one of the great supporters of Israel. Why are they making you into an anti-Israel? Lost the contact on the Savage Nation. I hope not. I hope that the phone connection is still good. Donald, are you there with us? Something happened, ladies and gentlemen of the Savage Nation. We're waiting to reconnect with the most important man in world politics right now, the man everyone is waiting to hear from, and that would be Donald Trump on the Savage Nation. Yes, is he back with us? Look, this is live radio. This is what happens. Donald, are you back with us on the program?
I'm in San Francisco on the runway, and we just got cut off, so...
Oh, I wonder why you got cut off. Okay, a little interference from the control tower. Donald, where do you go from here? Where are you flying to now?
Well, now I'll be going back to Indiana, and we're doing great there. We're getting wonderful poll numbers. We have unbelievable people. We had, as you know, Bobby Knight endorse me yesterday, and he's fantastic, a real champion, a real winner. And I'll be really focusing right now. Right now, I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm in San Francisco, back and forth. But I'm going to Indiana. We're going to focus there, and I'll be leaving there on Tuesday. And then I'll be coming to various other states where we're campaigning. So it's a lot of work. But the end result is we're going to make America great again, and we're going to make it maybe greater than ever before.
Donald, before you go, and I know this is a busy, busy day, and I know how important this show is to me and to you because you're going to win in California. What do the numbers look like in California for you? Are you ahead of Mr. Cruz at this time?
Well, I just saw the last poll came out. We were at 48% compared to the other two were in the 20s. And so that's a big gap. And we're also doing very well in Indiana. Indiana looks really good too. So
Donald, he's whining and dining the delegates. That's a real issue of the rigged system. How are you going to overcome the delegates who can be bought for a cheap meal?
Well, they're only being bought for the second, third, fourth, fifth ballots. They can't be bought for the first because I won them. But good. Incredible. Well, Donald, we hope you win in California, and I'll help you in Indiana because I have 5 stations in Indiana. I'm in it to the end. I want to see you in the presidency. It's very important that we do make America number one again, and I know you're the only man to do it. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of this hectic, crazy day for joining us on the Savage Nation, and good luck today, tomorrow, and into the future. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it, and we'll win, and we're going to do a great job. You'll be very proud. And thank you very much, Michael.
You're very, very welcome. I'll be back.